All right. So, no, which line are we on? Somehow I'm Oliver, you were here last time.
I don't recall. I think it's towards the end of section 1.
Right.
I don't think we've gotten into the second section yet.
Okay. Yes. Yes, we finished here.
Right.
Prepon Doron. And Father Cole, if you could start from here, please.
Yes. Just a moment. Okay. Ke udenaton tis theis logis adi astrefis enies entethramenon ime prostufto anterin oti ta theoprepi panta tioli thearchia prosesti kataton theoteli logon. And none of those. So enthethramenon. So none of those things brought up in the divine oracles, in the unchangeable divine. Okay, so I do not suppose that any of those things brought up to an unchanging thoughts or cognitions of the divine things may speak against this.
Well, let's pause and think how could or might things possibly be brought up?
No, it can't be things. It must be people.
Yes.
Not one of those.
Right.
Yeah, because Udina is also masculine, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So nobody who has been brought up to an unswerving cognition of the divine oracles.
Well, okay. So let's again pause here also, because so there are two datives. So antistheis logis, that clearly goes with enthethramenon. So brought up or nourished, literally nourished, because that's the verb.
Truffle.
Yeah. But what do you do with the second dative, Adiastrophis Aeneas?
So those who have been brought up in or to, those who have been raised on.
Right, raised on, but this goes with these logis, right? But so
yes,
and how the second noun with the adjective also in dative, what kind of dative it is?
I'm not sure.
Oliver, do you have any suggestions about it? Are there strophes Aeneas?
Of means, by means of?
Right. That's I would think so. In this context, are there strophes? You I forgot how you translated are there strophes.
Unswerving.
unswerving.
Unchanging.
Yeah, but it's not. So what's the meaning? What does it mean to be raised in with unswerving and Aeneas? Again, what would be the meaning of Aeneas?
Cognitions is what I said, but
Right, right. So we need
reasons.
to we need to think whom could he possibly have in mind? So think about the meaning. So so it's not enough to be nourished in divine, in basically in Holy Scripture, but one more condition is needs to be fulfilled in order that such a person would not object anterin. Anterin, how did you translate? I think you, that's
Would
right.
not object is what I
Right,
said.
right, object, yes. Prostuto. So what could this condition be? So are there people who read the same scripture
Yes.
but interpret it different? How do we call that?
Heretics.
Exactly. And why are they doing this?
Because they don't have adiastrophes enies.
Right. So what would this mean, basically?
It must mean like correct thoughts or
Well, it's not
orthodox
quite.
thoughts.
Well, but that's right. Let's go back to
That's
the
true, but
text.
okay.
Let's see what the meaning of this adjective, what meanings it have. Always start with Lampe if there is Lampe has anything about it. If you do you have access to TLG, so Lampe should be easy
No,
to.
I don't.
Oh,
I
okay.
do. I do have the PDF that you sent. It's just a little
Right, right. It takes time.
unwieldy.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
If you have it on TLG, please do that because it'll take less time.
Well, since I in this case I know the answer. Anyway, so well, Oliver, do you have anything to say?
Is this the one? I think it's perverted.
Yes.
Right.
So unperverted intentions. So their intentions are perverted. They read the correct text, right? But their intentions are perverted.
Ah, okay.
So that's one of the meaning of any enia, right? So, and then given that, and tethramenon, you translated it as passive, but if, of course, it's not this interpretation that it's unperverted intentions. It is I who suggested it, but I think it's a good one. So, assuming it's a good one, so would passive, because it's middle passive, right? So, so one cannot be nourished. If one is nourished, one is a passive object, like a child is nourished. A child cannot have perverted intentions. So an adult can have one, right? So given that, uh, can you think of a better reading of this, a better interpretation of this enthethramenon?
Those who nourish perverted intentions,
Well,
or who nourish with respect to themselves perverted
yeah,
intentions.
who nourish themselves, because if you take it not as passive, but as middle, a middle, what's called, middle voice, right? Middle voice, normally its meaning is that it's an action. It's not a passive reception. It's not. It's an action, but an action has a result affecting the actor. So if we retain this meaning of with perverted intentions and assume we are talking of adults, then these adults, when they have unperverted intentions and nourish themselves with unperverted intentions on divine law scripture, on divine saints, basically. So they have the right text and have right intentions, and they nourish themselves. Then none of them would object. Does make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
None of them would object that all the things theoprepi is like suitable to the god, suitable to God.
Yeah.
And theoteli, I'm not sure what theoteli.
Yes, that's a very good question, and we need to think about it. But let's, for now, just leave it out, like roughly say divine.
Okay.
But it's not. Yes, you are right that we should give you a
like
pause.
perfect. Is it telos, like perfectly divine?
Yes, that's one possible interpretation. But let's think of it later. Let's just
Okay.
get the meaning. Yes. So let's say perfectly divine for now. Okay.
Okay. So all that is suitable or appropriate regarding the whole Godhead is prosesti, is to be is added according to the perfectly divine word,
Well,
or according to the completely divine.
prosody, again, how did you translate it?
Well, added, but I mean, attributed would probably be more. Yeah.
Yes, I think belongs. But
Yes.
what do you take to be the subject of this sentence?
Okay, so it's a predicative, it's a copulative sentence. So all things, tapanta tiholi terakia. So everything that is God appropriate.
Oh, well, but it needs panda doesn't agree in case with Tioli. You take it. Okay, okay. Okay, sorry. So you take the subject with ta theo pripi panda, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, all that, all things or all names or well, all things, all the things appropriate to God, right? That's the subject.
Yeah.
Yes. So prosody belongs to
The theoteli logon.
no, prosody. No, it's kataton theotelilogon, but pros takes the dative, so it belongs prosody oli
Sorry.
thearchia.
Okay, yeah. So all of the God appropriate things belong to the complete Godhead according to the theoteli logon.
Right. To complete, but since we reserve complete for telos and its cognates, let's say whole, especially as it's probably English whole comes from this, olos, Greek olos, so to the whole Godhead, right? So now, how to translate theotili? I will tell you right away that translators vary. And actually, in this case, I find Aquinas is the best. So I've seen modern translation. Some take it to mean divinely perfect, perfectly. Some say perfectly divine, but frankly, I don't like it because it sounds like almost tautology. Can anything be perfect if it's not divine? Can anything be divine if it's not perfect? So, of course, sometimes one can't avoid thinking that this author has such kind of expressions which seem mere verbiage, but in this case, I think, do you see how what Aquinas made of it?
I'm just trying to find the passage.
Yeah, it is. It says modus laquendi somehow. Just let me see. I forgot how he phrased it, but it was very beautiful. I think wonderful. Well, it's secundum perfectum modum loquendi de Deo. So he took, well, I didn't check the Sarazin's Latin translation, which he was basing his interpretation upon, but that doesn't matter because I think in this case it perfectly fits the Greek text. So again, secundum. So he takes tele with logos, and he takes. That's a very ingenious or ingenious. I always confuse these two English words. Sorry, you got me right. So he takes God Theo in Theoteli as an object of logon, and he takes tele qualifying logon. So I think it's great. So in other words, theotele would mean perfectly corresponding to God. So according to the logos or to the meaning which perfectly corresponds to God. In other words, on this reading, he is saying that if we take this theopripi panda, the names, all names which befit God in the sense which perfectly corresponds to God in the kataton theoteli logon, because these names can have quite profane meanings. They befit God, but they also befit creatures, right? So I think that's the best, and you feel free to see there are quite a few English versions, and I consult sometimes French version of divine names by Isabelle Diandia in Sous Chrétien edition. They all, I think, missing the mark, which is, well, so again, thank you, St. Thomas, but well, anyway, any thoughts about that? Any questions? Well, if so, if not, then Oliver, would you take from here?
Tuton un hemin bracheos men en tutois kai merikos en alois de hikanos ekton logion apodedegmenon te kai dioresmenon hopoion anaptuxai theonomian holikein enkeresomen epites holes autein theotetos eclepteon. So the first two clauses are a genitive absolute.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, so I'm not sure what order to take these in, but I guess the verb first. Having been these things having been pointed out, both pointed out and separated, or maybe defined by us, briefly, in these places, and partially in other places, sufficiently from the oracles.
Well, in these places, I think you're in this text, in these words, in what he has in these passages, right? That's what you mean.
That's what logion means here. It's not.
No, and tutis, what I'm asking about.
Oh,
And tutis, man there on the one hand, and tutis on the other hand, and alice.
Right. So in these writings,
right,
briefly
yes,
and partially, in others, sufficiently.
yes.
And we will undertake to unfold what sort of, I don't know how to take holy cane there, other than whole, but I think it has the adjectival meaning something slightly different.
Well, holistic, wholesome. Well, whole. Well, wait a second. Whole is an adjective in English.
Well, yes, but isn't this?
Yes, it has a suffix.
Holy cane. It's not holos. It's holy cane. So I was.
Yes, holy. Yeah, we can. Right, that's a subtle thing. I actually I didn't think about it, but yeah, it's good you noticed. So holy cane, if it has any other meaning than any kind of twist on the meaning. But Hopoyan, I think most interesting. I'm curious how you fit in Hopoyan, because there are two ways to take it. So and I'm interested what you make of it.
I guess I understood that as the object. I mean, that's the main. That's the burden of the question. That's the thing that will be unfolded, is what sort of divine name attributable to the whole. You think?
Okay, so yeah, I'm looking Holy Cause, universal, general, absolute, perfect. Okay, that's yeah, it's kind of not quite the same as holos, right? That has this what's the difference? Like universal, absolute. So how does this fit? Yes, universal, I think, would be better in this. There's a meaning. Lampe gives entire, which is close to whole. Anyway, that's a subtle thing. So let's. So again, how do you construe?
Opoion?
Yes.
Um, that what is to be unfolded on aptuxai, what is to be explained in the next passage is what sort of name is universally attributable to God.
Nameness, right? Theonymia.
Yes.
Yes. But if you that's I actually that's I think that's the best way to take it. But if you take it this way, so I think you take it as a relative clause with theorismenon. So uh, 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 having been shown these things having been demonstrated apodethigmenon, uh, well, that doesn't quite fit. No, sorry, that's uh, yeah, I thought yeah. So you see, Oppian, if it's what right, its meaning is what it's a relative adjectival pronoun with theonymian. You see, they agree with in gender and case. So we will undertake to expound anaptyxa Hoppian theonymian. Right. Uh, uh, yeah, so I think now I thought I forgot how I thought it would better to take it, but you see, um, Father Cole, do you have any thoughts about how to construe this?
Hmm.
Well, I think uh, we'll have to assume that it has here the same meaning, which normally Oppian Tina. So, which means whatever kind of God nameness. So this clause would mean then whatever kind of God nameness we will undertake to expound anaptyxa as universal, and then goes this clause: Aftin, this theonemia, actis, epitis olis theotitus eclipteon. So, Oliver, would you translate this, given this?
I guess it's something one must understand it concerning the whole divinity.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Yes.
Or we shall undertake to unfold it or to expound it with regard to the whole divinity.
No, eclipteon has meaning of uh, it must be, right? So
Okay.
yes. So right, I thought there's another way, but to take this opinion, because I was resisting this to construe it this way, because normally, again, normally it's just a relative pronoun, and for some reason I thought it's possible to take it as with the theorismenon, but it isn't, because theorismenon is uh, it's different. it's plural basically. Yeah, the problem is. Uh, so right, so the only way is so to for it to make sense for this what follows the Orismenon, this uh, two clauses. Uh, so this clause beginning with Opian should be taken as uh, um, as a referent of Aftin, so kind of parenthetical. So whatever Opian, good nameness, we will undertake to expound as universal olikin, right? It's almost tautology. But here it looks like the difference between olikin and olis is in play, because if it were just as olin, then it would be tautology. But then here there's a subtle difference. So whatever God nameness will undertake to expound as universal is to be understood in reference to each this God nameness Haftin is to be understood as referring to the whole divinity. Yeah. So, okay. Any questions? No? If not, then Father Cole, please.
Do you think the idea is in part that I'm just trying to figure out Holy Cane is the idea that it wouldn't be a universal name if it wasn't applicable to the whole of the divinity?
Well, he states it as following from what was said previously, right? So that's he believes it has been proven. So, in other words, it shouldn't be taken as, if you know what's analytical truth, right? All bachelors are not married, right? So it's not a truth like that. So that's why I think it's relevant that olikin and olis are different words, right? So that something should be not something quite trivial. That basically he believes that he proved that any universal name of God, what he means by universal, oliki, theonimia, well, he says that we'll come to that later. That's important, that he speaks of the gifts that befit the good, right? These are the names which are universal, right? So, and again, that rhymes with what this whole section, this actually this chapter 2 begins. Remember, e after ahathotis, remember we suspended that question. Why does he think that when he's shown that that the the goodness shows the whole existence of the whole Godheadly existence, right? We'll come to this, but because below there will be a very explicit statement about that. But I think my reading is that by universal, he means that which has to do with the gifts befitting the good, right? And he named them above life and what else? And others, life creating, yeah, you remember that, right? Okay, we'll come to this, but that's as much as I could say. So maybe, do you have any other suggestions about that?
No, I'm just thank you, that's helpful.
Okay. Right. So whose turn is I forgot now.
Father Cole.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Ide tis fei synchisimas en tufto katatis deoprepus dieresios isagin, tontoion de logon imis ude aufton iometa pitin ikanon os estinalites. So if somebody should say that we have introduced confusion in this matter, contrary to the God appropriate division, such an argument as that, we believe we believe such an argument, or we do not think to be convinced. We do not think that such an argument as that will convince us, ude aufton ikanon, nor is it.
Where do you see convince us?
Or, well, we do not think, oyomata, we do not think it will be sufficient to convince.
Convince whom?
I'm not sure what the object would be.
Right. There are several, at least two ways. Actually, interesting. So Lila has half-tone other manuscripts, but he didn't invent it. He takes it from some manuscript traditions. Zuhla and other manuscript traditions has half-tone, but let's follow Lila. So we don't think such an this kind of argument. One way to take it. Let's start. Do you say at least one way to take before we go to more than one?
Sorry, what did you say?
Do you see at least one way to take this? I think
neither will it convince himself.
Right, sufficiently, ikanon. But then you need to add osestin alithis.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but I suppose since it is true, is what I suppose it to mean. But I'm not sure how what's the force of hos here? As being true, as it is true?
Well, but what sense would it make? So
exactly.
yes, if we wouldn't we don't think it would sufficiently convince him himself.
Although it is true,
Well, although unfortunately horse
doesn't really
doesn't have this meaning. So, Oliver, do you have any thoughts about this?
I just understood it to mean something like that it is true, but I don't know if that works either.
Yes, I think that's the only way.
Hmm.
So
Okay,
that
so
it was
that's the
sufficient.
object of pitin.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. And I think on this reading there is only one way. If it were Afton, as Zuchla suggests, there could be another way to interpret it. On this, let's limit ourselves to this, the Lila's reading. But even on Lila's reading, Hafton can mean either logos or this teeth, the person, which basically the same. But I think logos would, with the person, it would be a psychological statement, right? With logos, it would be very ironic that it's more. I like it more if we take as this argument or this reasoning, then Logan would mean this discourse, right? Wouldn't convince even itself like something. In other words, it would be self-contradictory, but I don't insist on either of the two. Right, but okay, any questions about this? If not, then Oliver, please.
Amen gar este tis holos photois logiois antanistamenos oro pu pantos estai kai tes kath emas philosophias kai emetes ekton logion auto Theosophias mele Hos an hemin melese tes epitein theologikein epistemein autu heragogias. So, or if someone is completely stood against how do we take logios? Is scriptures or
Yeah, oracles, literally oracles, or
oracles?
well, yes, oracles would be the safest
Okay.
way to take it.
And okay, so and no, not and for if someone is completely or no wholly against the oracles, he will be completely somewhere far off.
Pu, I think here, I suppose it can have this meaning, and I think, yeah.
I suppose he will be altogether far from our philosophy, from the philosophy according to us. And unless Mele is care for, I think.
Well, why do you think it's unless?
May.
If not,
yeah.
Yeah, well, except one has to place not with in accordance with the English grammar, but basically it's conditional, in which the protasis has a negation, right?
So this would not right. I see.
So me goes with mele.
So if he does not care about the theosophy from the oracles.
Mhm.
How will he
You mean,
by us?
well, you mean Melissa. So, see here in the prothesis after, after Meli, I think you see, you took it, Meli as he cares, right?
Should it be impersonal?
Yes,
Ah,
because
impersonal concern. So it's like it concerns or something.
it matters. It matters. It doesn't matter to him. So, well, of course, it's not a good English. So, it doesn't. Uh, well, it's hard to put it into good English to preserve the at least similar cases. Uh, so,
If he has no regard.
right about, yeah. If there, well, impersonal. If there is no regard for him, if there is no something like that, if it so it's easy to render after Meli, it doesn't matter to him, but then it's difficult to render the genitive of the object of Meli in English, right? So then in English it takes the direct object. Something, actually it should become the subject in English. Something doesn't matter to him.
Yeah, right.
But in Greek it's impersonal. It me after meli, and then the genitives, right? So
Oh, I
it,
see.
yeah.
So how will it concern us? How will uh how will guidance cheragogias
Mm.
concerning concerning theological knowledge?
Mhm.
But it's hieragogias autou, so his guidance.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
How, okay, thank you.
So, do you think you've finished translation, Oliver?
I thought I did. Yeah, that's why I'm
well,
at least
I
something
know, well, okay. So he's guy. Okay, so sorry, I didn't understand. Well, but you see, there are two ways to take it. Well, but before we come to the meaning, so I want to bring to your attention. Do you see anything strange grammatically in this apotheosis of this conditional?
I mean, I suppose the attributive position of the prepositional phrase with epi, is that what you're thinking of?
No, that's quite normal. Anything else? Well, you see, an with the future tense in the apotheosis, it's something very, very strange.
Huh.
In Zuchla's edition, it's
Because sorry, should it be optative instead?
yeah. If it were optative, it would be
Okay.
perfect. But unfortunately, no manuscript support it. And to my surprise, Lila likes to correct whenever it's something is even when the manuscript doesn't have it, he corrects. But here he didn't. But frankly, I'm at a loss. He didn't retain the subjunctive. Let me see, Melissa. Let's see at the apparatus what line it is. It's line 5. um, okay, apparently Zuhla corrected it to subjunctive, which I don't think how much better it is, but because again, on with subjunctive in apodosis, it's very, very strange. But with the future, it's also strange, but at least some manuscripts have it, but it doesn't help. Anyway, if you will find it out, I'll try. I'll ask people around. Well, nobody could help me with this. I at some some colleagues I asked, and they were speechless. But anyway, but what's it's just curiosity, but strange thing. But what's more uh, concerns the meaning. So there are two ways to take this genitive. It can be taken as genitive of the subject, right? As you both took it, right? His guidance, right?
Yeah.
Or it could be guidance of him, right?
Right, exactly.
Objective genitive, yeah.
Yes, and I actually, yeah, but I like more his guidance. I mean, I like it more as genitive of the subject because then it would sound ironic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but otherwise it sound as a resentment. But I think I forgot how Aquinas took it. I remember I was kind of not quite happy with. I think he took it the other way around, but that's you may look it up. But just keep in mind there are two ways to take it. Yeah, yeah, and so yeah, but the logic is clear. That if he doesn't share our premises, right, namely that the oracles, namely the scripture, is authoritative, right?
Well, the same ambiguity, I think, is in Latin as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well,
because
in Latin translation, but not in Aquinas's
the
interpretation.
interpretation, no.
Yes, yes, yes. Of course, I'm sure. Yeah, because it's easy to translate. You know, some languages like Latin and Russian, it's possible to translate into them, retaining the ambiguity. In English, it's not possible that the English translators into English they are faced with the challenge of interpreting, right? To not just translate but also understand something, right? So, which and take responsibility for this understanding. Okay, whose turn is it? Is it Oliver, right? No. Oh,
No, it's mine now.
okay, go ahead.
Ideis tindon logion alition aposcopi, tufto que mis canoni que foti chromini pros tin apologian, os te esmen, aclinos vadiometa fascontes, hos ideologia tamen inomenos paradidosi, ta de dia que crimenos que ute ta inomena dierin demiton ute ta die que crimena sinchin al epomenus aufti kata thinamin epitastias marmarigas ananevin. So I don't think I'm going to get through all of that. But...
Oh no, it's not difficult. Go ahead.
Okay.
So either just note man death. So one if on the one hand, now if on the other hand. Okay.
Right. So if on the one hand he has
or if on the other hand already we are in the second.
Sorry. Yeah. If on the but if on the other hand he has regard for the truth of the scriptures, or he is careful in looking into the truth of the scriptures, to this one, che mis canoniche foticromini prosona apologian. What is tufto referring to here?
Yes, chromony takes the dative.
Right.
Yes. So
Chromony means we need, or
no,
we shall
we use. Yes.
Right. Then we using it as a cannon and a light towards a defense, as insofar as we may be able to.
Yes.
Aklinos is steadfastly.
Yeah, without not declension. I would say declension, but yeah, turning away from, what's the word? Without
Unswerving.
Yeah, probably the right. Yeah.
Okay.
Except you missed K. So we also, right? Yeah.
Okay. We too
Mhm.
shall use it as a cannon and as a light
Well,
towards.
no. While using chromony, it's participle. Okay, but you translated correctly when we also we we also you. Well, I understand it. Yeah, but okay, so we understand the meaning, right? So but also goes with us. So if uh, uh, he, our dialogue partner, as they say now, right? Uh, uh, if he regards the truth of the oracles, then we while using them as canon and light, okay, then now can.
Right. As far as what we are able, we shall unswervingly walk towards the truth, affirming.
No, prostin apologian to the towards the defense.
Towards the defense. Sorry. Towards defense, affirming that the theology, which on the one hand they transmit,
that's singular and indicative, that theology is the subject,
right.
that it transmit, or well, it's parathesis is tradition, it's a cognate, so
yes,
it hands down,
that it hands down the theology on the one hand in a unified way, unifyingly.
So that we affirm that theology transmits on the one some things tamen unifiedly.
Right. Okay. So we affirming that theology hands down some things on the one hand unifyingly, and on the other hand discreetly.
Other things. So tamen tade, in this context, it's one thing's other things. Tamen tade. It transmits some things and the other things discreetly.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
Some things singly and other things discreetly. Is that incorrect?
Yeah, that's correct. But
okay.
But you did need on the one hand here because.
Oh, okay. And neither the unified things and neither is it permissible to separate the unified things nor to join the separated things, but rather for us to be, I suppose, for
w-
us,
while following hypomenus, as
follow,
we follow afti, following it takes
but rather following it, namely theology,
mm-hmm.
according to our strength,
Or ability.
according to our ability, upon the okay, this is quite strange. Ananevo is, well, the LSJ gives throw the head back or make signs.
Well, there's other meaning. Should be like something look up. Is there such a? Does it give?
Oh
such
yes, it
meaning?
is. Yeah, look
Yeah.
up from, go back from. But rather according to our ability, epites, to look back upon the divine
Splendors.
splendors. Yeah. Okay.
I think not while look back.
To look up upon.
Yes, is there meaning look up? I thought.
Yes, there is. There is. Yeah.
Yeah, look up is better, I think.
Yeah.
Also, sinhin is not to join, but to confound,
Okay.
confuse. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, great. All right. Yeah. Okay. We're done for today. Thank you. All right. Okay.